Welcome back, everyone. You're watching RoboCorn Rewind, the exclusive League Tournament recap episodes. Today, we've got the West League Tournament lined up.
As always, we have some highlights from the tournament, an award reel, and finally, an interview with another FTC team from the area.
Now, let's look at all the best highlights from the West League Tournament. Roll the clips.
Welcome to the robot section of the West League Tournament recap. Starting it off with Raider Robotics Team 16762. Here's their end of their autonomous. They shoot 3 in the high goal and drop off the wobble. And shortly you will see them score a few rings in teleop. The footage is sped up a little bit to condense the viewing time. But you can see there they go. Pick up 3 rings, shoot them right in the high goal. Alright, on to the next row. Alright, next we'll be actually going over Control Award by Team 16011 Fayette 4H Robotics. Now, Fayette 4H Robotics has been easily one of my favorite robots. They are so innovative in so many different ways. First, they shoot 3 rings into the high goal and then drop off their wobble. Now, they have 2 different wobble mechanisms. One that is basically a one-use, and then the second one is a multi-use, which they will use to pick them up in autonomous. Then you can see that they use their IMU to drive in a straight line, so that if they get pushed off course, they will still continue driving straight. Now, my favorite part by far of the robot is the shooter mechanism. Once the ring gets into the tractor bucket, they place it onto this plate, which then aligns the ring into their magazine, which they can then later shoot. Here you can see they push the robot to the side and the robot will continue to drive straight. Here's a few cool macro that I like. They can do this all in one button, and they've calibrated it so that the ring will really be consistent. And then here's another really cool thing. They have 2 color sensors that detect the height of the ring. Basically, if one sees red, or one sees color, then you know there's only 1. If 2 see color, you know there's 4. And if there's no color, then you know that there are no rings on the field. So many innovative things. Awesome robot for Fayette 4H Robotics. Alright, now on to Team Yantric. Team 12593. Yantric is probably one of the fastest robots in autonomous that I've seen. The robot really just zips around the field. One of the things that is kind of really innovative on this robot is their shooter. The shooter shoots at basically a 45-degree angle. So while it makes shooting power shots a little bit more difficult, it allows them to sit right in front of the chute during teleop while they're shooting, and they can be square. So you'll see that in a second. There they go, picking up rings. And they can sit right in front of the dispenser without having to turn. And they can block the rings right from there. Something really innovative from Team Yantric. Alright, on to the next robot. Alright, now on to Team 8393 Brainstem. Brainstem recently set the world record of 611 points. First, they start off by pushing the wobble into the goal. Next, they shoot all the rings they had already loaded into the magazine, and then they use their double intake to pick up the rest of the 4 rings and shoot them into the high goal. They pick up the next wobble and they drop it off and park. One of the big advantages of having the double intake is it allows them to pick up in rings without having to turn around and shoot them. But the real star of the show is in teleop with their front and intake and turret. First, their intake. Their intake knocks down rings and pulls them into the robot very, very quickly and allows them to pick up rings that are vertical. Next, their turret always stays locked onto the high goal, which allows them to never stop shooting, which is how they have such ridiculously high scores. One of the things that is really, really cool about the robot is actually their drivetrain. Their drivetrain is built so that they never have to strafe. Right, as you can see, the mechanical wheels are built so that here they are driving back and forth rather than strafing, which is much more efficient and faster than having to strafe side to side. Now you can see there's an unfortunate endgame for Brainstem. Their power shot actually flipped back after they had actually flipped down. So they missed 15 points in this game. They could have had over 620, which is really, really high score. Good job, Brainstem. Thank you for watching the recap of these amazing teams from the West League tournament.
Some awesome match highlights that we just saw there. Now for our interview with Robotic Doges. Simran?
Hey everyone, welcome to the Western League tournament. This week we have an amazing guest, the Robotic Doges. Before we get into the questions, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Zane Fletcher. I am a veteran on the team, and I'm also one of the head programmers.
So actually for this episode, Robotic Doges showed a huge interest in coming on to our show. Have you seen it before?
I have, actually. I really enjoyed watching it, actually. It was really nice to be able to have the short summary of each league.
Yeah.
And the highlights at the end. Those are really nice.
Yeah, we wanted to do it because of the whole virtual format and like not everyone's able to see what everything's going on. So yeah, thank you for watching it.
Oh
Let's get right into some questions. You've done a great job in all of your 6 league meets. How has your team been adjusting to the league style?
So we kind of had an unintentional advantage because in last year, we decided to compete in New Jersey, and they have the same type of league style. So they have the league meets and everything. So we were kind of used to the league meet style already. We had to more just get used to the virtual virtual competitions.
Yeah, well, that's nice that you had an advantage. Have outreach projects been impacted by the pandemic this year?
So they have, but we've been lucky enough to be able to offer numerous different outreach opportunities as a team, including, like, for example, this summer we held an odometry workshop because that's been a very up and coming thing in FTC. And we were able to host 7 teams at the workshop. And of course, we were following all of the guidelines we were supposed to for COVID. But so yeah, we've been very successful with our outreach.
And that's nice to hear because I know a lot of teams may not be focusing so much on outreach this year. So I'm glad people are still doing it. What are you proud of most on your robot?
So actually, personally, I am most proud of our hopper launcher system. So reason being, we've decided to have a mobile, like, carousel, like hanging carousel type hopper design. So it can swing, and to move between levels, it actually moves completely out with 2 servos onto the launcher platform. And the launcher platform itself, actually, with 2 linear servos around the front, the hopper or the launcher platform can move to different angles to adjust for the best launching. So yeah, it's definitely one of our best parts of our robot, for sure.
Do all of your parts help one another to make an efficient cycle time?
They do, because we've implemented a lot of automation with it as well. So it seems like there's a lot that would be going on, like the hopper has to move and the angle has to adjust, and we have to turn on the launcher. But we figured out a way to do that all at one time. So it all works together to where everything moves into place within seconds, and it doesn't really affect any of our cycle time at all, but it increases our accuracy, which is mostly what we wanted to achieve.
Okay, that's nice. Is your robot fast, or is it more like accurate?
So we tried to balance a little bit of both, and as the season's gone on, it's more been driver practice, trying to get comfortable with doing the faster cycles. So our robot, it is accurate, and it can shoot relatively quickly as well. So it's not like extremely fast in one or the other, but it's a good balance where we can score well.
All right, moving into outreach, we talked about outreach earlier, but more so like STEM and FIRST. How does your team spread awareness about STEM and FIRST within your community?
So yeah, we hold outreach events every year to kind of spread awareness of STEM in our area. So like in over the summer, last summer, we held a drone camp. So for 5 weeks, we held camps where kids could come in and they could learn how to fly drones and how to control them. And while we were doing that, we taught them, as well as teaching about the drones, we also taught them about FTC and our robot. So it was more of a combination. We could teach them about STEM and get them involved in FTC at the same time.
And that's such an innovative camp. Like I don't think any team would think of holding a drone camp. Like I would definitely want to go.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun for both us and the kids that were involved.
I'm sure. How does your team like build relationships with other teams, especially now that we don't have in-person competitions?
Yeah, so especially for this season, since a lot of teams have been virtual, a lot of them didn't have. There's a good number of teams around our area that don't have full fields to be able to, or good fields to be able to do competition on. So we were, over the competition season, we were inviting teams into our facility to be able to run their competition matches on a full field, so they can have the same advantages that we would have. And as well with that, we've also, in most of our outreach events, we invite other teams in, and we will, and a lot of them, we will distribute prizes and we'll distribute parts to them to help them along in their season.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're all still supporting each other. I know this season has been kind of tough on some teams, but
yeah,
I'm glad everyone's there for each other. What is one thing you have learned from COVID that you would like to share?
I've learned that COVID has forced us to adapt in ways that we haven't had to adapt before. So we've learned there's a lot more ways to do things than what we at first had thought. So we can, through the changes, we can make sure we can find other ways to do things that we didn't think were possible. So as much as there was a learning curve, it was very advantageous to a lot of us technical teams and a lot of people in general to be able to find out that there was a lot more to be able to do. There's a lot more ways to do things than what they had originally thought.
Yeah, that's a nice philosophy, because I feel like COVID has helped us realize that we can do things that we may not have even thought we could do before. So, yeah. Is there anything else on your robot that you would like to share?
Well, if we're on the front of the rope, so along with the launcher and the hopper system that I described before, our collector system is also quite interesting, because in the front here, on we have, I think, 5 different shafts that run off of a single motor. So you have a lot of complex gearing and chains and stuff to try to run that shaft. And along with just the collection system trying to convey it into the hopper, we also have a lot of these, a lot of mechanisms up here to try to knock rings over to try to get them to go into the robot. So we have these wheels in the front here. And we also have these spinning zip ties that will help to knock them over to help us collect the rings as efficiently as possible.
Wow. I mean, I feel like you guys have some really good innovative systems on your robot.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on to RoboCorn Rewind today, and thank you for wanting to be on our show. It means a lot to us. We really appreciate you giving us your insight, and good luck to all teams competing. I hope you do well in your tournament.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much to Zane Fletcher for joining us this week. Now let's take a look at all the amazing award winners from the West League.
That is all for the exclusive episodes. We've had so much fun filming the league tournaments and meets from this season. Congrats to all the teams who will be moving on, and we can't wait to see you guys perform at States.
Also, if you haven't already, go check out the episodes of Career Connections that are on our channel right now. We also have a very special video coming soon. In the meantime, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this exclusive episode.